Hey guys, what is going on? It's Ghost here, and today I'm releasing episode 2 of my Hearthstone strategy series. Today I'm going to be talking about one of the biggest factors to consider when playing a CCG, card advantage. The term card advantage is a very broad and highly discussed subject when it comes to CCGs, and it could absolutely have its own section in this series. Although it's such an expert subject, it also plays a huge role in the basic understanding of the game. So in order to better explain what card advantage is, I'm going to have to break it down into a few different sections. We're going to talk about card advantage, card disadvantage, and tempo. So if we want to keep it simple for right now, let's look at the term card advantage like this. Cards we play are like our resources, and anytime we make a move that puts us in a better position than our opponent, we take card advantage. With that being said, there are many factors that we can look at, the first being card draw. When playing Hearthstone, you start the game off with 4 or 5 cards depending on the coin. And every time you play a card, you're going to deduct a point from your resources. Every time you draw a card, go ahead and add a point back. The reason this is important is because with card advantage, you have more options available. Whenever you play a card, you are losing a resource, and until you gain a card back, you are at a disadvantage with all other factors being put aside. So let's look at Novice Engineer. The card effect states that when we play this card from our hand, it allows us to draw a card. When drawing this card, we replace the card with another card. So when we break it down, you'll see that at the beginning of your turn, we have X cards to play from. We play Novice Engineer, which takes us back a step because we lost an available card to play. But when the battle cry kicks in, we replace what we had just lost, thus losing no card advantage. Keep in mind though, card advantage is not only about cards in hands. We also have to consider the cards that are on the playing field. For this example, we're going to go ahead and look at a common mage card called Mirror Image. When playing Mirror Image, we lose that 1 point of advantage, although the effect of this card summons 2 cards to the battlefield. In turn, this will bring us back to a positive number of resources. Instead of trading 1 resource for 1 card, we traded 1 resource for 2 cards. So in short, if the opponent has 2 cards on the battlefield and 3 cards in hand, and you have 3 cards on the field and 5 cards in hand, you are currently at the card advantage. Now why does this matter? Because like we stated before, having more cards than your opponent opens up more options. And when we are making 1-to-1 trades, eventually your opponent who is at a card disadvantage will run out of options. The only flaw with this is that we are not always making 1-to-1 trades. If it's taking us 2 or 3 cards to destroy one of his cards, we are at a card disadvantage when it comes to our resources. This is where the term tempo comes into play. Tempo is directly related to the time we spend on our plays. To make it easy for everyone to understand, we're going to say that tempo is merely making the most out of your turn. Tempo is just taking away your opponent's life faster than he can take yours. So for example, if we're playing an aggro deck, we need to know when to give up some card advantage to increase our tempo. Tempo directly relates to your health, and in a sense, if we can get enough minions on the field to deal with multiple damage a turn, the deck that is playing solely card advantage may not be able to react in time. The perfect example for this would be a fast aggro deck versus a control deck. In order for the control deck to survive long enough to win the game, he must take some card disadvantage decisions to survive long enough to respawn late game. So theoretically speaking, if we are using a handful of fireballs to deal direct damage to the opponent, we are putting ourselves ahead in the tempo game. But if we take a step back, we now realize that we have just spent our entire hand on this turn. He may have less tempo than us, but our opponent is now sitting on a huge card advantage. If we can't kill him off as fast as we want, and we are finding ourselves losing in the metagame, then we are probably spending too much effort on our tempo. This is why it's important to find a balance between the two. Learn to give out a value on what you think your card is worth. Sometimes it's not a bad thing to sacrifice a few creatures to destroy one of his big minions if the value is there. If it takes me 3 creatures to get past his taunt and deal 2 damage directly, then follow it with a Pyroblast to win the game, it was probably worth the trade. Hopefully you guys can find some use in this topic, and I hope that you all try to further your research on it. This is one of the most difficult concepts to understand, and it takes a lifetime to master. If you guys start to value the cards you have, and each play you make, I'm sure you'll find yourself being a better Hearthstone player. Leave your thoughts on the topic in the comment section below. Make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for the rest of the series. Thank you all very much for watching, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video.